Nagi, do you have any warm weather for us yet down in St. George?
It's beautiful already, sunshine. Yeah.
Well,
We're gonna have a hint of rain just in case you get homesick.
okay. Well, we're looking for some warmth as well soon.
You're gonna have some sunshine, beautiful sunshine today, and then you may get something different tomorrow. You never know.
That's true. Well, next week we're going to maybe be in the 60s here in the Wasatch Front, so we'll see.
Well, don't make it too quickly too warm because you're gonna have a snow on the mountains. You don't want to have avalanche, right?
Yeah, we do. We want to have it come down all controlled. That is correct.
Yeah. Well, whatever the Lord wants, He's gonna send us. We have
You know, learned that a long time ago.
That is His choice, not ours. We just pray, right?
Yeah,
Well, you ready for this?
absolutely. Yeah, yesterday was just a warm up. Today's the full blown. So here we go.
Official date.
Yes. Hey, good morning, Lou. You look like you're ready to go conduct a meeting somewhere with nowhere to go conduct.
That's right. Send me an audience.
And an audience. Yeah, it's
Great to be with you all. Kind of dark here.
good to see you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good to be with you, James. This is fun. I don't envy Nagi. It's hard enough when we're there keeping this crowd under control, but boy,
it is. We're a rough bunch for sure.
No question about it. Good looking group here.
The ties look nice, gents.
Thanks, Donna.
Just for that, I'll put on my scarf.
That's great. Are you down in Cedar City? Donna, are you in Cedar City? Oh, she's going to put her scarf on first. Okay.
Yeah, she's getting prepared.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman. I've noticed all the commissioners have joined.
A lot of talent on one phone call, no question about it.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. This is Carlos. I understand we have about 42 people watching on YouTube, and the audio is streaming live. And the department staff is ready to go whenever you are.
I show that Nagy just left the meeting. Either we got the work done faster, or he got a much better offer.
Oh,
I just asked him if everything was okay and what I could do. So
Okay.
there he is.
Sunny
Mr. Chairman,
State.
welcome back.
have to point him to the mute button.
I cannot hear anyone. Can you
Well-
hear me?
We can.
Yep.
Okay.
We
Well,
can
if
hear
you can
you.
see if you can see the flag behind my desk, would you please all rise and face the flag? Let's have the pledge. I will state that, please. Please all rise. And when you're saying the pledge, would you please feel the pain that we have throughout the world? Let's have your voices heavenward, please. I
Right.
Pledge
Allegiance to the
flag of the
United States of America,
and
and
to
to the republic
for
for
which
which it
stands
stands,
one nation
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
With
liberty, and justice for all.
for all.
for all.
Thank you. So we have every commissioner right now present, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can hear my voice clearly?
Loud and clear.
Wonderful. All the commissioners, please acknowledge that you can, every one of you, by name.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
This is Natalie. I hear your voice.
thank you.
This is Wayne. I read you loud and clear.
Thank you.
This is
Luke
Jim
Kramer.
coming in loud and clear here in Utah Valley.
Wonderful. Thank you. Kevin? Donna?
Donna's here in snowy Cedar City.
We'll send you some sunshine. Kevin, I need to hear from you, please. Commissioner Van Tassel. Unmute your microphone.
Mr. Chairman, I show him being on the line,
Okay,
but muted.
all right. If there's any problem with any of your devices during my conducting, you need to let me know. We need to stop the meeting until you correct your problem. We need to make sure everybody is on the system all the time.
Chairman, I can see Commissioner Van Tassel on the screen, but I'm not seeing if he's reacting.
Okay,
Might be the same problem he had yesterday.
okay.
Yes. Well, Mr. Chairman, we'll have one of our staff give Kevin a call, or
Okay,
Commissioner Van Tassel a call.
Yeah, he looks like he's working on trying to get it resolved.
wonderful. Thank you.
He was also connected with through his video call or through his telephone, and it looked like he just hung up from his telephone. He's probably rejoining.
Okay. I need to read this statement from our legal counsel that neither the Open and Public Meeting Act, the Commissioner's resolution concerning electronic meetings, nor Commission policy contemplate holding open meetings after declaration of a national emergency due to a pandemic that requires social distancing and other precautions. However, Governor Leavitt's executive order issued March 18, 2020 does allow the commission to hold public meeting 100% electronically. So if that is the case, I would like to have a motion from one of you with the state your name, and then second, to proceed with electronic meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you. I need a second.
I'll second. This is
Thank
Wayne.
you. Thank you. So we will go forward with the meeting electronically, 100%. Okay,
Mr.
No.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman, excuse me, do you need a vote on that?
oh yes, let's, all in favor say aye by name, please.
Luke Kramer, aye.
Natalie Gawkner.
Aye.
Okay,
Donna Law, aye.
thank you.
Kevin Van Tassel, aye.
Thank you.
Jim Evans, aye.
Thank you. So all in favor then is aye. Any opposed? We will go forward with the electronic meeting. Okay? Again, at this time, I would like to have an introduction of the item number 1 is introduction. So we will ask the commission to introduce themselves again one more time with the jurisdiction that they have in the commission. And then we'll go to UDOT family. Start from top, Wayne. Commissioner Barlow, introduce yourself, please.
This is Wayne Barlow. I represent Region 1, which are the 6 northernmost counties in the state from Box Elder down through Davis County.
Commissioner Kramer.
Lou Kramer, Commissioner at Large, live in downtown Salt Lake. Thank you.
Commissioner Law.
Donna Law, I live in Cedar City and I am a commissioner at large.
Commissioner Evans.
Okay, this is Commissioner Evans, and Journey wanted me to share this with you in honor of Region 3. You've got the virus. What are you going to do? Quarantine. I can't get next to you. There'll be no loving, squeezing, touching each other. Corona, corona. Na 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 na, corona, corona, na 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 na. That's all you're gonna get out of me.
Well done.
Thank you.
We gotta liven it up a little with this online corona stuff. So
That is
Yes,
beautiful.
me too.
That is. I wish I had the talent like you do.
we don't have talent. We're just trying to liven it up. So thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you, Commissioner Van Tassel.
Yes, Commissioner Kevin Van Tassel. I live in Vernal, Utah. I'm a at-large delegate commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Cogner.
Good morning, Natalie Gochner. I'm coming to you from Murray, Utah. I represent Region 2, and I'm happy that we're physically distant but socially connected. And I hope Commissioner Evans will do Led Zeppelin for us at our next meeting.
Well, wonderful. Thank you, everyone.
Don't encourage him, Natalie. Don't encourage him.
At this time also, I would like to recognize our partners from FHWA. Ivan Morero, if you're there, and also Brigitte Mendel, welcome. Thank you for being here with us.
We are here. Thank you, and looking forward to the meeting.
Thank you. Good to see you. Let's see. Carlos, would you please introduce our UDOT family?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I will go and take the privilege of introducing all the members of the department that I believe are online. And that way, I think it'll be a little smoother. So starting with myself, Carlos Braceras, Executive Director, Jason Davis, Deputy Director, Engineering and Operation, Terry Newell, Deputy Director, Planning and Investment, Heather Bartho is our Commission Secretary and has done a lot of work getting ready. Grant from our communications area, Ivan, who has been putting together the commission presentations for most of yesterday and today, Ben Hewitt, Brad Palmer out of Region 2, Brian Adams out of Region 2, Jordan Lee, who's really been instrumental in helping us pull together the Google Meets, and we appreciate everything he's done. Katie Roberts as well has done a lot of work to get us ready for this. Chris Peterson, Director of Project Development, Linda Hall, Director of Policy, Lisa Wilson, Region 1 Director, Monty Aldridge, Deputy Director for Region 4, Nathan Peterson, Program Manager for Region 1, Nathan Lee, he's the Director of Technology and Innovation, Rick Torgeson, Region 4 Director, Rob Clayton, Region 3 Director, Rob Wright, our Director of Operations, and you introduced Ivan Morero and Brigitte. Mr. Chairman, that is the folks we have online ready to assist and respond to any questions from the members of the commission.
Thank you, Carlos. At this time, since this was supposed to be officially in Washington County and specifically in Washington City, I would like to ask Mayor Ken Nielsen if he's online to come forward because he has some other meetings in Cedar City later. So he would like to have opportunity to welcome everyone officially to this meeting, even though We are socially distanced, but we are in hearts together. Mayor Nielsen, are you online? Mayor? Mute your microphone. Mayor, can you hear me?
Don't see that he's on.
Okay, we'll come back to him then. Let us go with the Ivan Marrero's report, please.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, commissioners. Ivan Marrero, I am the division administrator for the highway here in Utah. And I have about 5 items to bring to the attention of the commission today. And thank you, Ivan, for driving this. If you go to the next slide, please. We have a couple of funding opportunities that I want to bring to your attention. We call them NOFOs, or Notice of Funding Opportunities. First one is the Bill Discretionary Grants Program. This is the largest grant program we have on the transportation side from the federal government. And this year we'll have $1 billion that can be awarded to the state, local agencies, and other transportation providers. So basically, again, we have $1 billion. I think this year they're going to try to split it up, so 50% of the awards go to rural areas and the rest to the other areas. The maximum award will be $25 million, and there's a limit on any state receiving more than $100 million. So that's those are the limitations there. The deadline for applications May 18th. And I've provided some of the websites that we will be holding webinars for to those who are interested in applying to educate the process, and those are the websites there where people can go and get more information. And just for the commission's benefit here or information, back in 2018 there was a bill grant in the amount of just under $8 million awarded to Miller County for a rehabilitation of their Brush Wellman Road. And I think the climbing lane projects down in Region 4, that was under the Tiger program, which eventually turned into the Bill program. So Utah has received a couple of these grants in the past, and we hope that they will. I'm sure they will be putting in for this one, and I wish them nothing but the best. Let's go to the next one, Ivan. It's kind of weird talking to Ivan here. So anyway, the other funding opportunity I want to bring to your attention, we have a grant. It's called the Highway Use Tax Evasion Program, evasion of highway use taxes, such as the fuel taxes and the highway vehicle use tax. So basically, these funds are available, and it's $8 million nationwide for state DOTs to help identify and combat tax evasion. So that's another one. And I didn't put the date. The application deadline for that was May 22nd. And and usually the grants they've been in the range between $10,000 to $150,000. So hopefully there'll be some interest here in Utah for that grant. Next one, please, Ivan. Okay. So we have there is a special rule. This one deals with older drivers and pedestrians. Basically, if states exceed a certain questions over age of 65, then under this special rule, they have to incorporate strategies to address that particular rate increase in their next highway safety, their strategic highway safety plan. So this year, Utah was one of 17 states that exceeded that number. So they will be required to again incorporate strategies in their next strategic highway safety plan to account for this increase in older driver and pedestrian fatalities. So just wanted to make you aware of that. Next one, please, Ivan. Okay, so the supplementary tables. One of the ways that Federal Highways distributes funds is through apportionment. So basically, these are funds that are set by formula provided in statute. So every year, one of the things we do is we apportion these funds out to the state. So at the bottom of the table, you can see the different funding categories, the funding programs, and the amount of money that will be coming to Utah. Just so you know, because the question came up yesterday, these funds are good for 3 years plus the year in which they were apportioned. So basically, the funds that I'm showing you here right now are available to be obligated until September 30 of 2023. So that's how much time is available for those funds to be obligated. And the total for Utah is $382.5 million. Next one, please, Ivan. And finally, I just wanted to give the commission just kind of a status on what we're doing on the Federal Highway side. Our office, we have 15 people in our office. We've remained open. We've allowed our staff to telework if they choose to work out of their house. Every one of them is eligible to do so. I am doing it. I'm basically going into the office 2 days and staying home 3 days. But we do have staff that has chosen to come into work. So we have people in our office. Our headquarters office in DC, they've pretty much told everybody to go home and work out of their house. So anybody who's eligible to telework is teleworking in our headquarters office. That includes our executive director and I believe our administrator. As an agency, we're listening to the states. We're recognizing that these are very unusual circumstances, and we're exploring every flexibility that's out there in order to allow for the states. We're having almost daily conference calls and letting headquarters know what we're hearing from the field and doing whatever we can to relax some of the regulations that we have in place. Go to the next one, Ivan, please. And just to kind of give you a feel for what we've been doing so far, just this past week, there's a requirement that the technicians that are out there doing sampling and testing on our project be certified. And you that let us know that there were a certain number of technicians whose certification was going to be expiring. So they were saying, we really don't want to bring these people to a class, put them together and put them to the recertification process. So they asked if we could grant them an extension, and sure enough, we were able to agree that, that was it's a no-brainer. We can extend their certification for, I forget how many days we extended it to, either 30 days or 3 months. But anyway, we were able to grant an extension to the certification. So we'll have, a adequate number of technicians out there to continue the sampling and testing of our projects. When it comes to bridge inspections, there is a requirement that our bridges be inspected every 2 years. Federal Highways, the way we understand that we don't have the authority to waive that requirement. That is in statute and regulation, but we are looking at what else we can do to alleviate that if, for example, a state is not able to inspect other bridges under that 2-year cycle. So that discussion is going on at the Federal Highway level, and we'll do whatever we can to make sure that we don't impose any undue burden on the states. Safety performance targets, the safety ones, the states are required to establish targets for certain programs out there, bridge, highway condition, bridge condition, safety, all of that. So the safety ones were the first ones that came into play. And basically by June 30th, states who didn't meet the safety targets were supposed to put together, or incorporate into their implementation plan actions to address those the deficiency in safety targets. So We're looking at extending that time. We're thinking June 30 is going to be a difficult time because of what's going on for states. So we're looking at maybe granting an extension to that June 30th deadline. And finally, we understand that because there could be delays or shutdowns on some of the projects, or we're looking at maybe what we can do from the financial side. There's obligation deadlines, inactive project and project end dates that have been established. The August redistribution, and even the discretionary grants have certain deadlines that have to be met. So we're looking at from the federal highway side, what are the things that we can do to again alleviate some of those burdens, some of those deadlines, and maybe grant some flexibility whenever possible. Finally, I do want to mention that the work that UDOT did during the earthquake, it was just amazing. To go out there and inspect as many bridges as they did in the amount of time they did it, to me, it was just incredible. I believe we had 705 bridges total, and they were able to get them inspected in a short amount of time. So my kudos to you. That I also want to note that the designers who designed those bridges to withstand earthquake loads and the contractors who build them to withstand those loads need to be recognized too, because just the fact that we only had to close one bridge during that time was really impressive. So we're designing them the right way, and we're building them the right way. So kudos to everybody out there. And that's all I have from the federal highway side. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
I do have just a comment in response to your elderly driver fatality. Rob White just said UDOT is including something in our safety plan to address the concerns with that item.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, you broke up there while you were speaking, so I did not hear the question.
Okay, there was not a question, just respond. Rob White indicates that UDOT is including something in our safety plan to address the concern with the elderly driver's fatality.
Okay, great. Yeah, and these numbers are no secret. UDOT's aware of what's going on, and I know they're doing all they can to incorporate those actions. So.
Okay, thank you. Anybody questions from Ivan? Thank you. Wonderful report.
Thank you all, and thank you, Ivan, for doing my slides.
You're welcome.
Item number 3 in the agenda is UDOT scoreboard. Chris Peterson and Rob White will present that item.
Good morning, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be able to present to you. Chris Peterson, Project Development Director for the department. We'll go over today for a few minutes the status of the delivery of our projects. We've been getting a lot of questions over the past few weeks about are we moving forward, and what is our project. I hope today I'll be able to point out to you that we are moving forward. Our program is not stopping, and we'll demonstrate that through our numbers. As of today, we have 10 projects that are past due out of the 653 that the commission has approved. Within 60 days, we still plan to advertise 11 more, and then an additional 94 more than 60 days out. So we are moving forward. Ivan, if you'll scroll down, we are still meeting our targets relative to delivering our projects on time. We've delivered over 119 projects since the start of the fiscal year, since July 1, totaling over $1.5 billion the contracts that we put out on the street, and we still have an 89% performance rating. So we're pleased about the significant efforts that our staff are putting forward to be able to get the work on the street. Over the last month, if you'll scroll down, Ivan, we've advertised 33 projects, totaling, if you'll scroll down, about 800 million, if I am correct. Sorry, 83 million. I had a decimal place off. I did that for Commissioner Kramer. So about $84 million that we've advertised over the last month. The majority of our program is coming out onto the street at this time. And as we scroll down, we'll look at the next chart. We'll be able to see that the histogram that shows how many projects we're advertising at the time. If you'll notice that in March, we've already advertised some projects that we had planned to advertise in April and May. So we're in several cases, we're ahead of schedule, and we've been able to get projects out a little quicker than we had hoped to do. And you can see that as we work towards the next couple months, we still have a lot of work to contract and to get on the street. And our teams, like Ivan said, our teams are doing the best to telework and to social distance and to make sure that they protect themselves, but at the same time get the work out. And I'm amazed as I communicate around the department, the amount of work that is still going on and the efforts that our folks are going to make sure that they meet their deadlines. We do expect that we may see some delays, and we hear about small things here and there, but we have not encountered any significant delays on our projects. Ivan, if you'll scroll down again, we'll talk to you. So currently, right now, we have under contract $2.2 billion worth of work. You'll see that there at the top of the chart on the right. 162 projects under contract. We have $961 million worth of contract that we have paid, and outstanding obligations to pay through the course of their contracts is about 1.2 billion. So we have a lot of work on the street. Contractors are getting ready for the summer season, and we're working with them on a case-by-case basis in the event that they do encounter delays. The concern that most of our contractors bring up is the potential for lack of supply chain consistency. They are worried that they may not be able to get some of the supplies that they need. Obviously, sand and gravel and cement, that's a lot closer, but any type of material that needs to come from a manufacturing plant, they're concerned about that. They're also concerned about third-party contractors or utility companies that may not be able to meet the schedule that we are planning on in case they have to either respond to, say, the earthquake or to COVID-related public works issues. They're concerned that may impact them. But at this time, we're not aware of any significant delays or impacts to our projects. What they have told us is we're seeing instead of a crew of 5 people, they may be down a person, they may see a crew of 4 people. And so very, very small impacts to their work. Ivan, if you'll scroll down again. Thank you. So currently you can see on the payment trend that we have paid approximately $33 million this month in payments to contractors. That amounts to about $1.2 million per day on average as we pay out. And if you look back over the previous 2 years, you'll see that we're ahead of where we were last March, as well as in March of 2018. So our program is a little bit bigger. You can see overall our payments for the year have been higher as compared to the previous years. And we're pleased that we're able to continue to make timely payments to the contractors and try to keep that influence, that good, steady influence on the economy going. That's what I have as a presentation for you this morning. I'd be happy to answer questions that you may have.
Chris, go ahead.
Lou Kramer here. Chris, excellent report, and I think we ought to get much more publicity. That's what Commissioner Gochner, I'm sure she's thinking of her next column about how this backbone of our economy is going forward. It's a very reassuring, confidence-building report, and I very much appreciate it, with or without the decimal points being where they are. But terrific reports, and I believe our Executive Director told us yesterday that other states were, in fact, closing down their programs while we're powering forward. So huge congrats to UDOT for this.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
I have a question for Chris, if I may.
Go ahead, Jim.
Chris, we currently, or originally, the Lehigh, the I-15 tech project there, that's supposed to be done by the end of the year. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And as far as barring unforeseen, obviously, as if we stay on track the way it is now, we should still be able to meet that by the end of the year. Is that your understanding?
My last communication with the project director for the tech corridor, he said they are experiencing some slight delays, but at this point, they have not determined that those delays are going to impact their completion measurably. We're going to continue to watch that every day. Essentially, it's a daily watch and look forward. They have told us that there is a potential for a delay on their project due to COVID-related supply and staff availability, but at this point, we haven't identified that that's going to occur.
Thanks. If you'll keep us updated, obviously being down here Region 3, that's probably the number one question I get from people wherever I'm at is just how that project's coming and are we on track? So just if any updates, I appreciate knowing. Thanks.
Yep, we will do that.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, please, Carlos.
Yes, thank you very much. I think I'm getting text messages from Linda that Mr. Nielsen was trying to make comments through YouTube. Had technical difficulty getting on to the Google Meets. But maybe what we could do is, Ivan, could we go back to the top of the agenda where we have that commission email address? And if I could, Mr. Chairman, just point out that, we have public comment period coming up. And if anyone who's watching on YouTube would like to make a comment to the commission, we will read those comments out loud to the commission. And you can see the address there, Transportation Commission, one word, at utah.gov. And there's still time to send in comments that way. So that is a path that we could provide to people. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Carlos. Chris, one question. The Division of Real Estate has just recently sent us the COVID-19 addendum, indicating if there is any delays by either parties, there will be no penalties, that the dates will be extended. Do we have such a thing, or our legal counsel has said anything about that? Can we do something like that so there will be no penalties for the contractors? Or
so we are considering what we might do with our contractors to help incentivize them to continue to work as diligently, as quickly as they can. We have instructed all of our project teams to work with them to modify their traffic control restrictions, which would allow them to work longer shifts a little more conveniently, or to even potentially switch from a nighttime to a daytime to help incentivize the contractor to continue to work. We have also contemplated potential no penalties for time delays. All of our contracts do contemplate a force majeure event, which this would be considered such. And under a force majeure event, contractors are not responsible for time delays, and the department is not responsible for costs associated with those delays. Okay. So we do have this contemplated in our contracts and how we might deal with it if it were to come. And so time delays, they would not be penalized for if they are delayed for this. So we've already taken care of that, and at the same time, we're trying to help ease the burden on them so that they can work, because we know that it's important for our economy, for our employees, and for the safety of the roadways that we continue to move our program forward.
Thank you. Any other questions from Chris? Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Rob, you're up.
Good morning, commissioners, Mr. Chair. It's good to be with you today. I apologize, I don't have video today, but I will have the audio for you. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yes.
Okay, just kind of off the top, and it's obviously the topic on everybody's mind is the COVID response. And let me tell you a little bit about the impacts that we have seen to traffic over the past 2 weeks. This is something unique in my career. I've never seen traffic go down 25 to 30% as it has in the past 2 weeks. We're looking at turning off our ramp meters due to we don't need them for what's going on currently because the traffic volumes are so low. Traffic is flowing well. Any of you that have been out driving have recognized that and have seen the reduction in traffic. My commute home, I done it a couple of times. I've mostly been working from home, but I have been into the office, has been gone down from 25 to 30 minutes down to 10 or 15 minutes, depending on the day. So it's a very positive impact on traffic. Obviously, we not a positive impact overall, though. Ivan, if you could scroll down to the little bit farther, right there. Okay, so as you can see on the graph on the left, our traffic fatalities, we currently have our target at this point is 46. We are currently running below that at 44. It's going to be interesting to see over the next month or however long that we are in social distancing or in lockdown, depending on the case, how much this it changes our fatalities. We expect that we're going to see, obviously, with less traffic, you would expect to see fewer fatalities, fewer crashes, and fewer serious injuries. Currently, with our internal fatalities, as has been for many years, thankfully, we have none to report. If you could scroll down to the next one, Ivan. So our suspected serious injury data is lagging about 3 months, and so we're not going to see anything for one more month. We should see some information in April. Our internal injury rate, we're trending very, very much below our target. We're down below 1 injury per 200,000 working hours, which is a really good rate. I think the efforts of Chris Mabey and his folks in our internal safety group have led to a lot of that, and congratulations to our many fine people that are out there working, that have to work through these situations, and they're doing it safely, and we're seeing fewer and fewer injuries. You could go down to the next one, Ivan. Also, the traffic crash data is delayed. We finished, as we mentioned, several of the past commission meetings. We've mentioned that our crash trends are higher. We expect that to continue. We're working with partners. We're working with our safety groups to try to reduce that. Our equipment damage rate is higher also. You'll notice the peaks that we see typically during the winter season when we have our snow plows out working, and we saw a much lower, smaller peak than we did the year before with our equipment damage. We'll continue to work on that. Are there any questions that you might have concerning safety or traffic that you'd like to bring up at this time?
I guess not. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Carlos.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, before Rob escapes, maybe we could ask Rob to talk about, he's our incident commander that we stood up our incident command structure a couple of weeks ago, as the COVID-19 started becoming evident. And, so we were up and running here during the earthquake, but maybe Rob could give a quick summary of kind of what that is, what it looks like, and how he's really taken on, an extra role here at the department.
So during UDOT's response to the COVID and the earthquake last week, it was interesting to be working with all the COVID related things and having kind of another incident happen right in the middle of that on Wednesday morning. That was quite a shock to a lot of us to see that and be kind of dealing with two, I guess, emergencies at the same time. But I've been asked to lead that group that is responding to the COVID situation and also the earthquake. We've stood up a multidisciplinary team throughout the department, and we meet daily to go over situations that are happening. Many employees have questions about how things should be dealt with if somebody is sick. That seems to be the topic that we get the most often, and we have tried to send out a consistent response throughout the department, tried to allay fears, give good information so that people don't panic, and try to lead in a way that will get everybody through this crisis and to the other side as quickly as possible. And I think communication is the big key that we found out, and direct communication and consistent communication, and trying to be as quick with that communication as possible. I think sometimes the absence of information leads to panic and rumors and fear, and so we've tried to keep on top of that. And I see that as probably our number one job, is to get that information out to our employees. The earthquake response, and I can't say enough for our folks in structures and our maintenance folks that went out quickly and got on those structures inspections. I texted several of our region directors right after it happened, and I knew they were already on it. Even before, 15 minutes after the earthquake, we had people out there looking at structures and evaluating those. And so kudos to our people. They're doing a great job. They did a great job, and I've come to expect that over my years at UDOT, that they're going to perform at a high level even under stressful circumstances. So it's been an honor to see that, and I've really enjoyed working with our folks here at UDOT in this way. And they've stood up to the challenge, and I'm very impressed with the way they've handled this.
Mr. Chair, I have a comment.
Go ahead, please.
Commissioner Gochner, I just wanted to make the point in regards to COVID-19 that the governor's Utah Leads Together plan does have a specific section that addresses construction work sites and gives guidance. And if that has not been distributed to UDOT contractors, that might be a nice touch. I'm just making that suggestion.
I know Chris Peterson was working on that, and Chris, maybe you could speak to that quickly.
I think he left.
No, I'm here. I accidentally hit the hang up button instead of the mute button. So I have to get back on.
We never do that.
We will look for that. I haven't seen that specific guidance. However, we have distributed to all of our contractors best practices, and we've asked each of our project teams to get together with the contractor and come up with project-specific work plans and processes wherein they can keep their employees safe and our employees safe, and yet still allow the work to proceed. So we'll look for that information and make sure that there isn't a best practice or a guidance that we have missed in what we've been communicating. So thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, that's great. It's page 8 of the plan where they give the instructions for businesses to stay in operation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Commissioner Barlow, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do you have any data or indications of people attempting to pass snowplows when they shouldn't?
I don't know that we have any. We keep any data. I know there's been situations where we hear that reported frequently. It's something that we've worked on. We've with our public information group, our communications group, we've got that information out to the public and advise them not to pass snow plows. We've done several things with our snow plows to try to make them safer, putting green whipped lights out on their wings so folks can see those. That's what happens a lot of times when people try to pass and they're plowing. They don't notice that they have also that additional wing out to the side of the snowplow. And so we've illuminated that and made it green. We found that green is the color that is most visible and can be seen even when there's blowing snow, which you see behind snowplows. So we don't have any data specifically on that. We know that it happens, but it's likely something we should be tracking and maybe reporting that to get an idea of how frequent it is.
Well, unfortunately, there are a lot of idiots driving on the roads, and I guess we can't legislate against that.
Well, we can do everything we can to try to make it safe. Obviously, as we've mentioned many times in commission, it's driver behavior is the cause of many of the incidents and crashes we see out on the road.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, please.
Donna here. I just wanted to compliment the department on this choice to have Rob lead this lead this command effort. As I was listening to his report, I was thinking he either should be on FM radio or helping everyone feel more calm and informed as we go through crises.
Thank you.
Good idea. Thank you, Donna. Any other questions from Rob? Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 4 in your agenda is capacity project prioritization, and Ben Hood is on deck.
Thank you and good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Ben Hewitt with UDOT Program Development, and I will be going over the capacity project prioritization update for today's meeting. So Ivan, if you could jump to the UDOT website, we will navigate to the Transportation Commission web page. And then if you scroll down to that first link underneath helpful links there where it says project prioritization process. And scroll down the page and there's a section called March 2020 Commission Materials that is available. And so the focus of today's update is the 3 project types that we've been discussing for the past few months, which are the Transportation Investment Fund active transportation projects, the Transit Transportation Investment Fund transit projects, and the Transit Transportation Investment Fund first and last mile projects. We've listed, you'll notice that in the March 2020 Commission meeting materials, we've listed also the Transportation Investment Fund highway projects, just so that with those 3 project types that I mentioned previously, it rounds out our ranked list for all 4 of the eligible project types. So we listed them all there just so that they're all together in the current current meeting materials list. But we previously opened up and looked at the TIF highway list. It has there's the overall list there. The next one down is the Metropolitan Planning Organization filter, which are all the projects that are within a Metropolitan Planning Organization. And then the one below that is all projects. It's a filtered list of all projects that are outside of a Metropolitan Planning Organization. So unless there's any specific questions about those previous lists that we've talked about, I wasn't planning on having Ivan open those up. So I will have you click on the TIF active list. So we wanted to show that this list, and Terry Newell brought these lists up and discussed them yesterday in our TIF workshop and staff update. But this list represents, previously, these are all the projects that were nominated for the TIF active transportation project type. In previous months, we looked at those nominations and went through the eligibility requirements of those nominations. And now this is the ranked list, which is all those projects were put through the model that the Commission adopted previously, and all the weighted criteria in all the different sections of the model. So this list represents the ranked list. And as Terry mentioned yesterday, this is what will be used to develop recommendations and potential funding scenarios as we move forward through the statewide transportation improvement program process in coming months. There's one thing to note on this list. There's some of these projects noted with the 3 asterisks were also eligible and submitted for the TTIF first mile, last mile project list. So you will see some of these on both of those lists. And that will be taken into consideration as recommendations and funding decisions are made in the coming months. Does anybody have any questions or anything about the TIF active ranked lists? at this point? If not, I could have Ivan jump back to the website and pull up the TTIF transit list. So this is similar to the last list that I just described. This represents the Transit Transportation Investment Fund transit projects, or could be looked at as capital projects for transit. So this list are the projects that were nominated by a local district for transit. And this is the ranked list for those projects. Here again, that will be used as we move forward with funding recommendations through our STIP workshop process in coming months. And then if you can jump back to the website, the last list is the TTIF first and last mile list. And this is the project type for active transportation projects that connect to a transit facility. And so here's where you see those projects that have the triple asterisk that we mentioned in the active transportation list, that they are on both lists. Here again, it's the ranked list based on the nominated projects in this eligible project category. And then if I could have you jump back to the website, I will just point out that similar to what we previously discussed on the TIF highway project, there are some links to some scoring sheets down below that. So Ivan, if you would click on the TIF active scoring sheet. This may take a second to load. So this just gives some more detail, and there's a lot of information here. So this is something that is available to look through the data that's behind these and hopefully provide some more information on the scoring and the different categories that we've been working on for the past months. On the Select a Project tab at the top there, Ivan, if you just want to grab that drop-down list on the top right and just pick a project, doesn't matter which one, yep, just grab that one. It will single out that project, and then if you scroll a little bit to the bottom of this scoring sheet, there are some pages that you can scroll through. So if you click on page 2, it's got some additional information on this project and how the scores total up. It's got a little map. This is something that our planning group did a great job to show how each one of these projects, the makeup of the scores and the rankings.
This is
So I just wanted to point out.
I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
If you can go back a couple of slides, there's an item, I think it was number 12 on the list that I saw. Yeah, let's see, number 12, BDO Phase 2. Can you explain what BDO stands for?
Can you pull down that? I am not sure off the top of my head. I may have to either get some help on what that is, or possibly have to get you some information at a later date. Let me check my...
Okay, well, I'm just curious, that's all. No big deal.
Mr. Chairman, this is Carlos. I
Go
believe
ahead.
that's the Defense Depot location. And if Lisa Wilson's on, she could maybe clarify that.
Yeah, it's the
We lost you.
redone
Lisa.
it and have
Try it again, Lisa.
This is Chris. Since Lisa's having audio trouble, that's the Business Depot Ogden is what BDO stands for. And that's up in the Ogden area, the old depot that they've converted into a business.
Does that answer your question, Wayne?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Chris and Lisa, for helping me out there. I appreciate it. So Ivan, if you want to jump back to the main UDOT webpage, those scoring summary sheet, or sorry, I didn't, yeah, right, you're perfect right there, yep. Those scoring summary sheet views are available for all 4 of those project types. Like I mentioned, and Terry did a great job yesterday of clearly laying out how this would work from this point forward. These are the lists now that would be used to develop recommendations, possible funding, and work with the commission in the coming STIP workshop. That was all I had for the capacity project prioritization item, unless there are any questions that I could answer.
Well, I just want to comment that to all of you, Ben, your department, all committees, what a beautiful chart and organization, vibrant colors and distinguished categories for each. We are proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you. The credit goes to the team that's been working on this for, it feels like a very long time, but they've done a great job.
Thank you very much. Any more questions from Ben? Thank you. Thank you. You can rest now. Okay, item number 5 is Region 4 local area presentation. I can see that Rick is ready to jump in, and he will be followed by Kate Roberts. Rick, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner, Chairman, Commissioners. This is just a tough time, obviously, for everybody. This is the commission meeting we really look forward to be able to be in southern Utah at this time of the year and give you guys a great tour and show you some of the improvements that we've made in the area over the last year, and as well as some of the challenges. So we'll do this with our Esri GIS storybook map, and Kate Roberts, our local project manager in the area, will step you through kind of a history of Washington County, as well as our major projects that are going on in Washington County right now, and give you a quick update. So, Cade, why don't you take it away?
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Cade.
Okay. Hey, well, it's good to see you, commissioners, Carlos, all the other leaders. Commissioner Chair.
Well, good morning, Cade.
Good to see you. Yeah, we'll jump right into this. This is the local area presentation. We had to put the red sand on the front page because we wanted to get you guys down here, but you'll just have to enjoy it from a distance, we guess. So, Ivan, if you can move to slide 2. So since 2007, we've had approximately 250 projects in the area, in the Washington County area, with around $917 million spent on those projects. The funding included state and federal funds, along with local partnerships and matching. Currently, we have planning, studies, and concepts underway, and environmental documents. We have designs, major designs, and construction. But the majority of those 250 projects have been completed. Ivan, can you jump to slide number 3? We'll highlight a few of these projects. This project you've seen from a recent meeting with Rick. This is the 400 South Underpass project. The project value is $2.9 million, and it was a partnership with St. George City, Dixie State University, and Dixie MPO. It came together really well. It's completed and in use today, pretty heavily used by students and locals for a number of reasons, to get to school and the amenities on the other side of the interstate. Ivan, can you move to number 4? Our Exit 16 project, it's one of our bigger projects with a value of $29.3 million. It is not completed, but very close. We have an asphalt sill that once temperatures increase, we'll be putting down. But for the most part, the major capacity components have been completed. This project spans from exit 16, which is the Hurricane exit on I-15, to exit 13 in Washington City. So the project is roughly 3 miles, and we added a southbound lane, as well as improved the curve radii on the ramps at exit 16, and it added capacity to the southbound on-ramp and the northbound off-ramp. That picture right there, Ivan, if you can open that picture, we'll highlight, just give you a look of what it looks like today. It's not as sunny right now outside. We have a little rain clouds, but that's what it looks like. It turned out to be a really beautiful project, and handling the traffic really well. I forgot to mention, we also replaced the 2 bridges right that you can see there on the left, and they were replaced and made large enough to accommodate future traffic in the area. All right, Ivan, let's proceed to the next slide. Our I-15 milepost 37 to milepost 44, just to give you a location on this, this is, if you're familiar with the area, the Black Ridge area, and north of that, and it actually crosses county lines. The project value is $24.4 million. One of the goals of the project was to help with, we have an issue with the curve on the south end, to improve the safety. So we flattened out the curve on the south end, added a northbound climbing lane, and an asphalt overlay on all the northbound lanes. You can see on the left where we're at right now. It was in construction last year and will continue construction as soon as the temperatures are up. All right, let's move to slide number 6. State Route 7. Not many are familiar with State Route 7. It's one of our newer roads in the state, the Southern Parkway. We, this last year, began a project with a value of $1.5 million. Putting an asphalt seal on the roadway. You can go ahead and bring that picture up, Ivan. As you can see, the shoulders of the project were completed, and then again, due to inclement weather, we had to shut down production. So come April, we'll begin not re-asphalt, but we'll begin with the asphalt seal process on the track and have that completed. This project runs from to milepost 7 on State Route 7. All right, moving to slide 7. State Route 59. I don't know how many of the commissioners are familiar with this. Nagi, obviously you are. State Route 59 is a route from City to Hilldale. That's right at the south part of the state. We've had a number of accidents on this road, and it's due to how narrow it is. This project is valued at $2.4 million. It says under construction there, but this is my project specifically, and we just finished it up this week. We are adding 8-foot shoulder, or have added 8-foot shoulders from milepost 0 to milepost 15, that green line you can see. And later on in the slides, we'll talk about another project 59, which will almost complete this section for the shoulder work. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Ivan. I'm not used to telling Ivan what to do. Usually he's telling me what to do. State Route 7, Sand Hollow to SR9. Let's bring up that image on the left, Ivan. So this project is valued at $74.5 million. This is the Southern Parkway project that most of you know about or have heard about. It is under construction, has 4 major interchanges, and it's the segment 5 of 4 segments on the Southern Parkway. Ultimately, we'll have a 2-lane road that will extend from Sand Hollow Road to State Route 9. This will be a 2-season project, so we'll have construction crews out there all this year and next year. All right, Ivan, let's move to the next slide. Washington Parkway, Green Springs Drive to I-15. So this is actually a local government project with Washington City. The value is $6.1 million, and it's a new 2-lane road that will extend from exit 10 in Washington to Green Springs Drive. The image on the left, you can see they're moving a lot of dirt. That's very recent. Hope to see some of that black stuff go down here soon. All right, let's go to the next slide. This is State Route 18. 18, just to get you familiar with what road it is, it's the same road as Bluff Street in St. George, except this is near Vail, which is just to the north, about 15 or 20 minutes from St. George. This project purpose is to increase the width of a very narrow area of this roadway. It has been awarded. The value is at $485,000. Once this project is complete, we'll have 6-foot asphalt shoulders, and it will be constructed this summer. This route, just to know, is the route that the St. George Marathon uses, as well as a lot of other pedestrian use for the Vail Loop. So this is a great project. All right, let's move on to the next slide. I-15, this project is located between milepost 26.8 to milepost 42.5. Last commission meeting, you saw the funding request to expand this project. This is an asphalt overlay and seal project valued at $16.5 million now. The southbound location stretches from milepost 42.5, which is near New Harmony, to milepost 26.8, which is just past the Tocqueville Anderson Junction exit. The asphalt overlay for the northbound will extend from milepost 26.8 to milepost 37.5. So that just goes up to the Black Ridge. Additionally, there will be guardrail and concrete barrier upgrades, and it will begin construction this summer. All right, I have a next slide. State Route 9 fiber project. This is a good project. We have a couple holes in our fiber line. Holes relative, meaning we're missing a couple locations. Right now, our fiber goes from I-15 and stops right at our office building near Hurricane. And this project would connect it all the way to Zion National Park. It's valued at $1.8 million. Construction's expected to begin late summer, fall, and it will run through the wintertime. All right, next slide. I referred to this project earlier when we were looking at the State Route 59 section, where we have recently, to this week, completed the shoulder project. This is a passing and turn lanes project that will follow that project, valued at $6 million. There will be two new passing lanes on this state route, as well as some turn lanes near Apple Valley, where we've seen an increase in tourist traffic, and then 8-foot gravel shoulders from milepost 15 to just almost milepost 20 to be exact. And it will begin this summer as well. All right, Ivan, next slide. State Route 18 again. This is north of Vail, even farther north of St. George, right near the border of Washington County, and it's a passing lane, climbing lane project. We recently identified it in our corridor studies, as well as that Vail Gap project that I mentioned earlier. This project would provide passing and climbing lane passing opportunities over the summit of the Cottonwood Pass area, just south of Enterprise, and this is at the southbound direction, valued at $3.6 million. All right, Ivan. The River Road project is a local government project sponsored by St. George City. Its value is $5.5 million. This is kind of a pinch point issue. We are widening to 3 lanes in each direction, as well as widening the bridge that goes over the Virgin River. And then we'll be adding 2 dual left turn lanes at both Riverside Drive and 1450 South. Construction is expected to happen this summer, late summer, and run through the winter. Go ahead, Ivan. Again, I'm forgetting. I'm going to give you an update on the Zion area transit. This is a great thing for the area. 15.1 million value. Right now, the locals have hired Zion Public Finance and AECOM to get through a financial study looking at the revenues and expenses, so they can really dial down what each community is going to be responsible for the 10-year commitment. They've looked at ridership, revenues from ridership, frequency, stop locations, recurring expenditures, and I'll add federal funding, sponsorships. After they get through this May 20th, we will begin entering into local agreements. I say we, I've been part of the process, but that's the COG, the Community of Governments, will enter into some local agreements with all the agencies along the route. And then we hope to purchase buses and start the infrastructure right after that those agreements are in place. So we're looking at the summer 2020 for a lot of those purchases to be made. All right, Ivan, let's move to, yes, 17, Southern Parkway environmental study. Sorry, I-15 is Southern Parkway environmental study on State Route 9. It's valued at $2 million. This is the draft for this section has been issued. What this section is we have the Southern Parkway tying into State Route 9 to the right where that yellow line that Ivan's pointing to ends. It ends there and ties into Interstate 15. This environmental study looks at the capacity needs because of that connection that will be made this year. There was a public hearing held this February, and the preferred alternative will include separated interchanges, a future third lane in both directions, as well as active transportation implications. I believe it, scroll down, Ivan, I think it's this year that the end of this year, they plan to have this, July. The final environmental statement will be completed in July. All right, let's move to slide 18. The Northern Corridor, UDOT's been actively involved in helping the BLM with their application for the right-of-way. The project value is $6.3 million. Recently, Washington County made the right-of-way request. 2019, when the BLM and the Fish and Wildlife Service issued the notice of intent for the NEPA process. The environmental impact statement, the draft, will be completed this summer, and we hope to have a record decision by the end of this year with that determination of right-of-way in place. All right, Ivan, last slide. Hopefully everyone's still awake. We've got a lot of projects down here. It's great. We wanted to list just some of the not as large projects, but still significant to our area. We're adding a variable message board to milepost 40 on I-15 to inform drivers, as well as we have 3 other local government projects, which are significant. One near Ivans and 1450 South, we mentioned earlier in the slides, that's in St. George, so a realignment to 3560 South, and then 4 Master Drive culvert replacements. Then there's 3 other projects that are directly related to active transportation, trail gap project, and then a feasibility study for a multi-path within coordination with the ZRC, the Zion Recreation Council, I believe. And then State Route 7, the active transportation facility plan is underway as well. With that, I went through pretty quick because I knew I only have 15 minutes. Is there any questions?
I just want to exercise a point of personal privilege to say, on behalf of Washington County, all the residents, and we love UDOT Commission, we love UDOT families, especially Region 4, to keep us safe, to keep us on the road, and save us all kinds of time to travel. Thank you, thank you.
We echo that, and I live in Salt Lake City. It's terrific to see these projects come to fruition after we've talked about them and seen them, and we love Southern Utah. So thanks for all you're doing.
Thank you. And I also got informed that we have 84 people watching us on YouTube. It's a record. You have to come to Southern Utah to make it even better than that. Thank you. Any other questions from Rick or Robert? I guess not. So
Thank you, Commissioner.
go ahead.
Thanks, Cade.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Do we need a break? It is about almost 10 o'clock. Anybody wants a break for 10 minutes? Commissioners?
Heck, the beauty of online is we can take a break whenever we want. So this is Lou. I'm just delighted to keep going through the program. But whatever. I will take a break if you ask us to take a break, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead. So we'll just go ahead and move on then. If you need to take a break, by all means, excuse yourself. Item number 6 is public comment. I would like to see if still we have Mayor Ken Nielsen on the line. If not, we'll go forward. Ken, are you be able to join us?
Mr. Chairman, this is Carlos.
Yes, go ahead.
He had made some comment on the YouTube page, and we've had a few of those, but indicating that he had some technical difficulties trying to join the meeting. But he wanted to make sure that the commissioners felt welcomed, and he wished he could have welcomed you to Washington City. And he's sorry that we're not there, but he wanted to extend his appreciation to the commission.
Okay. Well, thank you. Okay, then we'll proceed with the public comments. If you speak into your microphone, please state your name, state who you're representing, and state the agenda item that you're going to be talking about. And we recognize Eileen Barron and Mayor Julie Fulmer from Vineyard.
Good morning, commissioners. At this point, I do not see that Julie is joined on the meeting here, but we'll give her just a moment. Julie, are you there? All right, well then we'll proceed to our written comments. Per our public notice, we welcomed having comments sent in writing, as well as provided the opportunity to participate by live voice in today's meeting or submit audio or video files to play as part of our public comment today. So far, we've received 6 written comments, and so I will be reading those just so that we can hear them in their entirety and enter them in the public record.
Thank you.
Is my voice coming through okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So comment number 1, Dear Transportation Commission, I am Arthur LeBaron, City Engineer for Hurricane City. Hurricane City has been the benefactor of major investment by the state of Utah in the funding of the Exit 16 and SR7 construction projects and the SR9 State Environmental Study. Additionally, we are working with UDOT on the installation of 2 new signals on SR9, along with other projects on the state routes, which will greatly benefit citizens of Hurricane and visitors traveling on the SR9 and SR59 corridors. Thank you very, very much. I work daily with UDOT staff in Hurricane, Richfield, and at the complex, and appreciate their help and expertise. We depend on them to help deliver a safe and effective transportation system. Regarding the SR9 State Environmental Study, UDOT has identified an expressway alternative to address the long-term needs of the corridor, which would replace 4 signalized intersections with highway interchanges, along with a few other improvements. I urge you to engage with the Utah legislature to expedite funding to make these proposed improvements a reality in the short term. Anyone who travels the SR9 corridor is aware of the congestion that currently exists, especially during peak hours. The at-grade intersections add to the congestion and present special safety concerns in spite of all efforts that have been made to help them operate safely. When the SR7 project, which is currently under construction, is delivered in the fall of 2021, we will have the first interchange on SR9 that is separated from I-15 with signalized intersections. I believe that as the public travels through a corridor that has inconsistent controls for intersections on a high volume, high speed corridor such as SR9, it will be against driver expectation. I look forward to continued success as we work together on these projects. Thank you again for your dedicated service and for all that you do in our behalf. Sincerely, Arthur LeBaron. He's the city engineer of Hurricane, Utah. Now our second comment in writing. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Craig Shanklin, and I am a board member and past president of the Southern Utah Bicycle Alliance. SUBA, or SUBA, is the all-volunteer nonprofit advocacy organization that helps plan for the needs and safety of active transportation users in Washington County. I am here this morning to ask the Commission's assistance with a growing problem in St. George at the intersection of Bluff Street, SR 18, and Main Street and Black Ridge Drive. In addition to the current heavy vehicular traffic at this location, located near the I-15 interchange, the city bike trail system crosses Bluff Street at this location, which generates significant bicycle use of the crosswalk. Bluff Street at this location is a 9-lane roadway, which currently must be crossed by the pedestrians and bicycles via the pedestrian signal, which significantly slows vehicular traffic through this intersection. Every time someone presses the pedestrian walk button, it adds approximately 30 seconds to the vehicular traffic wait time. We believe that a tunnel underneath Bluff Street would speed vehicular traffic through this intersection and provide a safer, easier to use route for pedestrians and cyclists. The priority of this need has changed recently as a major commercial development is now under construction on 2 corners of this intersection, further expanding the problem. We believe that this pedestrian bike tunnel could be accomplished in one of 3 ways. The least expensive would be as a freestanding project to construct the tunnel at grade under the existing I-15 ramps, which uses UDOT right-of-way and connects perfectly with the city trail system on either end. This project would be similar to the bike ped tunnel recently constructed under I-15 near Dixie State University. Another option would be to incorporate the tunnel into the planned re-engineering of the Bluff and Main Street intersection and further incorporate changes to Main Street that the City of St. George is planning. The third option would be to incorporate the tunnel into a complete re-engineering of the Bluff and Main intersection and the planned widening of Lower Bluff Street. This option would be similar to the combined and very successful project at the other end of Bluff Street at Sunset, which also included a now heavily used bike ped tunnel. In closing, I would also like to thank the Commission and UDOT for all their past contributions to active transportation. There is much of our local active transportation infrastructure that was created with your assistance and is a legacy of which you should be proud. I also would like to specifically thank Rick Torgerson and his Region 4 team for their professional, positive, and creative approach to incorporating the needs of pedestrians and cyclists into every local UDOT project. Rick is highly regarded locally. Thank you again for your consideration of a needed bicycle and pedestrian tunnel at this busy intersection to improve safety and speed vehicular traffic. Thank you. Craig Shanklin, Board of Directors with the Southern Utah Bicycle Alliance. And Craig sent 2 images with his comment. One is a map locating the approximate location of this proposed pedestrian bicycle tunnel. And the second image represents one of the commercial developments that he referenced that is occurring adjacent to the intersection he writes about. Chairman, am I good to move on to the next comment?
Please go ahead.
All right, comment 3. And this is from George Chapman. in Salt Lake City, Utah. There are several items under capacity project prioritization, specifically the transit list, that I am against. I encourage the Transportation Commission to ensure full analysis of several eligible transit projects, such as the Taylorsville City Mid-Valley Connector BRT will increase congestion and pollution on a road that is already failing to provide sufficient room for vehicles. The BRT project also utilized buses with seating that the federal government say is unsafe. The seats are open and not like regular bus seats that help keep passengers in the seat row in an accident. So any crash will throw passengers around. The Ogden BRT route is also inappropriate for those types of buses due to the many cross-traffic and accident potentials. I remind the Commission that the Ogden 603 bus could be expanded for much less money and could provide the same service. I agree that the 200 South Salt Lake City Transit Corridor is inappropriate, ineligible when there are duplicate Salt Lake City UTA projects being pushed. Black Line front runner to tracks to University of Utah. The Kimball Junction to Park City BRT is also inappropriate since a regular bus would be 1/10 of the cost for the same service. All BRT plans should be analyzed with comparison to BLIP enhanced buses, which provide similar service at 1/10 of the cost. All transit projects involving rail and BRT should be postponed for a year to gather results of significant decreased ridership expected in the next year or two due to the virus. From George Chapman in Salt Lake City, Utah. The next comment. This is Dixie MPO Director Myron Lee. I was looking forward to meeting with you all in Washington City today, but appreciated the chance to still comment in this forum. The Dixie MPO appreciates UDOT's support in planning and delivering transportation projects within the urbanized areas of southwestern Utah. Particularly, we are excited to see the long-awaited Southern Parkway project getting underway. The Parkway will become a key transportation link through Hurricane, Washington, and St. George cities, as all three cities continue to grow and develop. We are still experiencing unprecedented growth throughout the area. We also appreciate the work recently completed on I-15 exit 16. Traffic congestion there seems to have completely disappeared, and we don't expect it back even after the COVID-19 event subsides. We continue to support Washington County and UDOT as they hammer out the finer details of establishing transit services between Springdale and St. George. Zion National Park visitor counts are down for March, but we were nearly 20% higher in January and February this year when compared to 2019. Your staff at Region 4 and within the Washington County area continue to be valued members of our planning and implementation teams. Thank you again, and wash your hands. Myron Lee, Dixie MPO Director. The next comment. Dear Commissioner Zanotti, on behalf of the Iron County RPO, I would like to thank you and the Commission for all of the work and consideration provided to the member cities and towns throughout the RPO. We greatly appreciate the working relationship we have with you and all of UDOT, especially those in Region 4 who work with us on a regular basis. We look forward to continuing this great relationship. Respectfully, Dave Demas, Senior Transportation Planner and Engineer for the 5-County AOG, DMPO, ICRPO. The next comment comes from Caroline Rodriguez, the Regional Transportation Planning Director of Summit County. Thank you for enabling stakeholders to participate and comment via telemethods. We appreciate the Commission's flexibility during these new times. Summit County's SR 224 BRT project was included on your ranked list of projects for TTIF funding. For your information, we are also reapplying for the previously mentioned build funding for the same project. This will be the third time we have submitted an application under the build program. In both previous attempts, the SR 224 BRT project, known as the Electric Express, ranked highly, and it made it to the Secretary's desk. We are extremely grateful for the great support from FHWA divisions, as well as UDOT Complex and Region 2 in prior years' efforts. This year, we hope to demonstrate a benefit cost analysis, BCA, of more than one, which is impressive for a transit project. Summit County and our project partners will be submitting comprehensive comments regarding the SR 224 BRT to the Transportation Commission for their April meeting. Thank you and stay healthy. P.S. Love the opening concerts daily. Caroline Rodriguez, Regional Transportation Planning Director. And commissioners, I'm just going to check our inbox to see if anything else has come in while I read those previous comments. And I do not see anything new in the inbox that was part of our public notice. So I believe that then that will conclude our public comments.
Thank you, Eileen. That was beautiful. Now I would like to open it up to any other person. If you have anyone online, they would like to send any kind of comments. Seeing none, we move on to the next agenda item, which is the business items under consent agenda. Ivans, are you up?
I am.
Okay.
So I'm just scrolling through the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes. It will also show the minutes taken from the prior month. These are also reported in the Transportation Commission materials for this month, so I will not slowly scroll through those, but I will go down to the projects returning funding for this month. Leave it here for a moment.
Okay.
And also to show the balances in the current balances in each of the programs. Listed here. Request now is a motion for approval for the consent meeting minutes, the consent agenda.
This is Donna Law. I move to approve.
Lou Kramer, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say by roll call. Commissioner Barlow?
I say aye.
Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Commissioner Law?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Van Tassel?
Aye.
Commissioner Gochner?
Aye.
Okay, it's approved. Thank you. Ivan, agenda?
We'll moving to the programming items, the business items for today. Our first item is item number 8A1, I-80 Echo Canyon Truck Parking is a new project within Region 2 along I-80. In February 18th, 2020, UDOT was awarded this FHWA discretionary grant. UDOT applied for this grant back in 2012 to construct truck parking along I-80 near milepost 181.5 in the eastbound direction. As part of the conditions of their grant, Region 2 will obligate this project in the federal fiscal year of 2020 with construction in the summer of 2021. This project will provide additional parking areas for the trucking industry, along with the general public. There will be no other facilities in this location other than the new parking. There are facilities within 3 miles from this additional parking, and there will be signing at the parking locations to direct the traveling public if they do need to use facilities other than to have a parking stall. Located here along I-80. Being said,
how many parking stalls will that generate?
Right now, that is unknown. The goal is, or the plan is to utilize all of the money that we received on this grant. This is 100% federally funded. I'm scrolling back up to the top. This is 100% federally funded project. And so our plan is to construct as many parking stalls as this money will allow.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Evans. I'd move for approval of this.
Second. Fantastic.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor by roll call. Commissioner Barlow?
Aye.
Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Commissioner Law?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Van Tassel?
Aye.
Commissioner Gardner?
Aye.
Okay, Ivan, number A1 is approved.
Thank you. Our next item, agenda item 8A2, is SR 210 widening and grit mill parking lot. It's a funding addition. This is a local government and WFRC project located in Salt Lake County. The scope of this project includes constructing a new parking facility with 34 stalls, constructing a restroom facility, and widening SR 210 to include a center two-way left turn at the intersection of Wasatch Resort Road. The additional funding will come from WFRC, Salt Lake County, and the Utah Outdoor Recreational Grant awarded to the Greater Salt Lake Municipal Services District. The funding addition was approved by the Wasatch Front Regional Council on March 22nd, 2020. Located here along 210. Notice at the mouth of Little Cottonwood Canyon. Our request today is a motion for approval to add $300,000 of additional funding to the SR 210 widening and grit mill parking lot project as detailed.
Commissioner Barlow moves for approval.
Natalie Gaunther will second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor by roll call. Commissioner Barlow?
Aye.
Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Commissioner Law?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Van Tassel?
Aye.
Commissioner Cogner?
Aye.
Item number 2 is approved, Ivan. Thank you all.
Item number 8A3 is 1200 South, 1200 East to 3600 East. It's a funding addition to a Region 3 project using transportation alternatives and local government funding. The 1200 South, 1200 East to 3600 East project is a joint highway committee project in Wasatch County, east of Heber City. It will widen 1200 South, improve the clear zone, add sidewalk, and provide left turn lanes into a large neighborhood. When Wasatch County applied for the Joint Highway Committee funds, they did not include bike lanes in the project scope. After the project was awarded funds, the city active transportation master plan was published, and it was determined that 1200 South should have bike lanes. This project is an opportunity to address this need. In order to comply with the master plan, additional funds are required to widen the shoulders to 5 feet for bike lanes. Wasatch County inquired of Region 3 to request funding assistance. After review, the department requests approval to transportation alternative funds with the local funds to the project. This will cover the estimated increase of cost to add these bike lanes. Shown here on a map of 100 East with Heber City on the left of our image, or the downtown area on the left of our image. Being the case, our request today is a motion for approval to add funding to the 1200 South, 1200 East to 3600 East project as detailed.
Move for approval. This is Commissioner Evans.
Van Tassel, second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor by roll call. Commissioner Barlow,
Aye.
Commissioner Kramer,
Aye.
Commissioner Law,
Aye.
Commissioner Evans,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Tassel,
Aye.
Commissioner Cogner.
Aye.
Item number 3 is approved. Ivan.
Thank you. Item number 8A4 is SR 74 US 89 and American Fork to SR 92 and SR 92 end of concrete to SR 74. It is a project combination and a new project. These two pins, these two projects, what we're talking about, both high volume pavement projects. Pin 16552 is a high volume pavement project that will microsurface SR 74 from US 89 to SR 92. It is currently a 2021 project. It has been previously approved by the Commission. Pin 17501 is a high volume pavement project that will microsurface SR 92 from the end of the concrete section to SR 74. The project is currently planned for 2022. Region 3 requests to combine these projects and deliver them together. The department has seen efficiencies in project construction costs, mobility management, and wider bidding responses when these types of projects are bid together. This will also minimize the multi-year impact to the traveling public in this area. I have two maps to show you. This is pin 17501 on SR 92. And it shows the scope of the pin 17501 here to here, that the project combining as along this roadway here, which shows on this map here, this being pin, scroll down and show the title, 16552 SR 74 US 89 down here at the bottom, in American Fork to SR 92 here at the top. So where these two projects will meet.
So Commissioner Evans, so hats off to you, Dot, for finding a way to both lessen the impact on the public as well as save some costs. So I'd certainly move for approval on combining these two projects.
Commissioner
Barlow, second.
Okay. We have a motion and second. All in favor by roll call. Commissioner Barlow,
Aye.
Commissioner Kramer,
Aye.
Commissioner Law,
Aye.
Commissioner Evans,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Tassel,
Aye.
Commissioner Cogner.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Number 4 is approved, Ivan.
Thank you. Item number 8A5 is I-15 milepost 135 to milepost 142.5, climbing lanes. It's a funding addition located in Region 4 along I-15. This project has recently opened for bids. The apparent low bidder was 103% of the engineer's estimate. The project funding is adequate to award the project and fund the construction management. Region 4 has reviewed the risk of construction items and recommends that 1.5 million is added to the project for a construction contingency of 5%. These funds will only be utilized if unforeseen issues arise during construction. Located here on the map, north of the I-70, I-15 interchange. Our request today is a motion for approval to add funds to the I-15 milepost 153 to milepost 142.5 climbing lane project as detailed.
Donna Law, second.
There's a motion and a second on item number 5. All in favor by roll call. Commissioner Barlow,
Aye.
Commissioner Kramer,
Aye.
Commissioner Law,
Aye.
Commissioner Evans,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Tassel,
Aye.
Commissioner Gopner.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Number 5 is approved.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 8A6, US 89 Kanab Station turn lanes. It's a funding addition in Region 4, located east of Kanab on US 89. This project is to construct new turn lanes at the Kanab Maintenance Station on the US 89 and be consistent with the Kane County's access management plan for their county road connection. The concept underestimated the amount of asphalt pavement and borrow needed to construct these additions, as well as costs associated with the consultant engineering services for design and construction management. Located here on our map, the project is located here east of Kanab. Our request today is a motion for approval to add funds to the US 89 Kanab Turn Lane project as detailed.
Commissioner Barlow, I move for approval.
Law second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on item number 6. Any other further questions and discussions on this item? Seeing none, all in favor by roll call, Commissioner Barlow,
Aye.
Commissioner Kramer,
Aye.
Commissioner Law,
Aye.
Commissioner Evans,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Tassel,
Aye.
Commissioner Cogner.
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 6 is approved.
Thank you. Our next item, item 8A7, SR 157 Kenilworth Road and SR 139 Spring Glen Road is a funding addition in Region 4, $300,000 of Transportation Solutions funding. This project had a bid opening on Tuesday, March 24th, 2 days ago, and it received 2 bids. The apparent low bid was 113.36% of the engineer's estimate. The biggest item differences were seen in hot mix asphalt, stone matrix asphalt, and traffic control items. Region 4 has reviewed the bid and is recommending to adjust the project value to award the project. Also, in reviewing the risk of the construction items, it's recommended by the region to maintain construction contingency of 5%. Located here on our map, south of Heber, or sorry, south of Helper on US 6. Our request today is a motion for approval to add funds to the SR 157 Kenilworth Road and SR 139 Spring Glen Road project as detailed.
Van Tassel moves for approval.
Barlow moves for a second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on item number 7. I have a question, Ivans. The oil price is being down. Why we're getting a higher bid on the asphalt?
I would like to defer or pass the question to Monty Aldridge or Rick Torgerson.
Okay.
Yes, Commissioner. I believe that this was bid prior to those oil prices coming down. Those bids were submitted previous to that, or at least they developed their bids on that. I think if this were to be bid into the future, perhaps it would be reduced. It's going to be interesting as we move forward to see if those oil price adjustments actually go in the favor of the department as we see those oil prices reduce. But currently they have not.
Well, Monty, this is Monty Aldridge. That was Monty Aldridge, first of all. And Monty, would you just explain to the commission what you mean by oil price adjustments and the provision we have in the contracts?
Yes, Carlos. So what we have, the provision in the contracts is in order to actually protect both parties, the contractors and the department, we have a clause in there that allows for oil price escalations, and it goes in both directions. If there's a substantial increase from the time a contractor submits their bid and bid opening until the project is completed or throughout the duration of the project, then there is allowable for that to be increased costs. And that works in the other direction as well. If there's substantial reduction in the cost of oil throughout the project, then there can be a realized savings to the department.
So we anticipate some kind of reduction then in the final analysis?
It's possible. I don't have those percentages committed to memory. I'm not sure if Chris Peterson could help out with that, if I phone a friend for help. But those specific percentages I don't have committed to memory, but that is absolutely a possibility that we could see throughout this construction season.
Hi, this is Chris. This is Chris. I am here. Would you repeat the question, Commissioner? I missed the percentage.
Drop in oil prices. Why do we have to pay more on this particular project? The bids are higher than anticipated.
Well, there's a lot of factors that go into those prices, whether or not they really know they're trying to predict what will happen. So if we hit the trigger, but there's also a point in the contract where it has to be initiated, and sometimes we don't initiate, sometimes the contractor won't initiate. And so we'll just have to look at that and watch as we go forward to determine if we want to play with that game. It's a little risky sometimes.
So, Commissioner, this is Rob White. I know many of the contractors lock in their asphalt prices. They're not directly related to the price of crude oil, and a lot of those contractors will lock in their season prices, like in the fall, to mostly protect against those prices going up. And so many of those, even though the price currently is down, the price the contractor is paying has already been locked in several months ago. And so a lot of times, even though the current situation should be favorable for bids, in many instances, especially our larger contractors, will have those locked in already and are set on a price already.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from either one? Chris, Rob, Monty? Seeing none, then we will go on the vote, and the motion is going to be on number 7, SR 157. By roll call, Commissioner Barlow?
Aye.
Commissioner Kramer?
Aye.
Commissioner Law?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Van Tassel?
Aye.
Commissioner Gauckner?
Aye.
Okay, item number 7 is approved.
Thank
I
you.
think you have 2 items as for information only, Ivan?
We do. Our last 2 items for our programming items, 8A8 is a Region 3 2020 Region 3 maintenance lighting project. It's a transportation solutions project for $150,000. Region 3 has a large traffic lighting system. Much of the lighting system was installed during the I-15 core project. The lighting system is aging and requires maintenance to replace lights and components that are failing on I-15 and throughout the region. This project was approved with the deputy directors for UDOT, and this is the informational only for the commission. Our next item also is informational only, is a region director contingency project. In Region 3, a US 40 median adjustment at US 189, $100,000 project. It is a left-turning traffic frequently backs onto the southbound through lanes on US 40 at the US 189 intersection in Heber City. There is an existing concrete median that defines the southbound left turn lane. Region 3 requests to program $100,000 of transportation solutions funds to modify the existing raised median to increase the left turn storage capacity at the intersection. This project was then changed from transportation solutions to the region contingency fund. The work will be contained within the existing median lane with no encroachment onto the through lanes. Located here on the map, south on 40 and the 189 junction. The better picture is shown here. I'm going to zoom out so you can see what the proposed adjustment is from this current center concrete median to the new alignment. Also information only for the commission.
Okay. Any questions from Ivans on these 2 items? Thank you, Ivan. Good job.
Thank you.
Item number 9 on your agenda is the SR 17 jurisdictional transfer. And we have Rick Torgerson and Keen Ellsworth from Tocqueville City on this item. Rick?
Yes, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to talk a little bit about this project. It's been on the MPO's long-range plan for several years, and we've been working with Tocqueville City for the last couple of years to discuss opportunities between the department and Tocqueville to advance this project, and made significant process adjustments over the last 3 or 4 months. And we do have Tocqueville mayor and 2 city councilmen in St. George. Due to bandwidth issues and concerns about their connection, they joined Cape Roberts, and they all are setting more than 6 feet apart. So we're happy they were able to join us, and I think with that introduction, I will kind of turn it over to Keen Ellsworth to give a short presentation, and then I'll follow up discussing the agreement and the resolution for the Commission's consideration. So Keen, why don't you kind of take this over?
Thank you, Rick, and Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, thank you for your time today. We in Toquerville are facing what I think most people don't face, and that is growth that we don't want. But then again, maybe everybody wants that. Toquerville was established back in 1858. It's older than many, I would say. But with our unique situation is that SR 17 cuts right through it. And with the growth, particularly with the national parks, the growth has really become overburdensome for our little town. Ivan, we go to the next slide, please. We created a solution to a bypass road called the Toquerville Parkway, and it's the red there. And it'll reroute traffic around Toquerville so that we don't destroy our little quiet bedroom community. That red line is the actual route, and it's about 4 miles, a little over, about 4.1 miles. All right, the next slide, please. I wanted to highlight here that SR 17, you can see the sharp curves towards the top, and then you can see that it goes right through the town. Our town private driveways right on SR 17, and it creates a nightmare for the local residents. Plus, that road was never designed, at least initially, it wasn't designed to have the volume and the big trucks that go through there. As we'll talk about in just a moment, we have lots of large trucks that go through there every single day, servicing the region there. Next slide, please. There we go. So SR 17 is a regional benefit to all of the visitors, or not all, but probably our traffic studies show that about a third of the visitors to Zion go right through Toquerville. But it also, SR 17 is used by those that visit Kanab, the Grand Canyon, Lake Powell. And that's why we see these big trucks going through as well in this kind of a quiet neighborhood, which is just, it's not acceptable to us. And it's almost like Toquerville gets all of the burden for the heavy traffic load, but we get very little benefit. And for the commissioners that don't know, we don't even have a single commercial business in Toquerville right now. So there's certainly not a lot of benefit from the traffic that goes through. Okay, the next slide, please, Ivan. I want to focus a little bit on the regional benefits of this bypass road. It will create faster access to La Verkin and Hurricane, Kanab, Zion, Grand Canyon, and Lake Powell. The travelers from the north go through Toquerville, but we're also, traffic studies have shown that we're also bringing in about between 3 and 5% from the south. In other words, from the St. George, Las Vegas area going to Zion National Park. They also use the Toquerville road because it is already a little faster given the congestion that Hurricane is experiencing. Likewise, with the bypass road, we don't have a strong, tighter curves, which makes it safer, and you don't have those, the residents that you have to contend with. And also, you heard earlier about the congestion that SR 9 is creating. We had traffic studies done that show that when that's under construction, particularly the stretch between I-15 and the new SR 9, currently on SR 9, that is going to create even more friction, which will push another between 5 and 8% of that traffic load up through Toquerville. So you can see it's a demand that we need to address. Okay, now the next slide, please. There is another benefit for this parkway, and that is the water district here locally has said they're going to finally break ground this year on the Tokerville Reservoir. That's the dam is the brown area there. They're also going to, we'll have an RV park there in kind of the lime green area. So in addition to the growth that we've already, once this reservoir goes in, we're going to have those who visit there, and they likewise are going to use this new route, especially as they go to Laverkin, Hurricane, and then of course the national parks in the south end. Okay, next slide, please. I mentioned briefly before, the reason this route is safer is that it doesn't have the tight turns, and it'll flow the traffic. It'll be a smoother route for them without having to deal with the downtown Tokerville. And you can see it's significant. I mean, we have Zion National Park with its huge growth rates, but it's this regional impact that we need to address. Okay, next slide, please. I do need to mention that there is an economic benefit, and because both sides of that red line are available for development, for potential development. Now Tokerville, it's coming. As much as we may not want it to come, we've been a quiet, sleepy place that it's peaceful. But this route will give development that is coming, it's inevitable, a place to go and not destroy our small community there. And that's a big plus to the residents of Tokerville and regionally, frankly. Okay, next slide. Tokerville doesn't have a lot of money. In fact, we have no money. We are, our budget is tiny. But I do want to mention that what we can do, we have done. So all of the land has already been acquired, or else in the very final stages. And we've also worked closely with our local UDOT representatives. And by the way, I should also do a shout out to Chairman Zanatti and Rick Torgerson and Kate Roberts. All three of them have been very helpful by not only providing support, but also ideas on how we can get this done within the constraints that we experience. But ultimately, we're going to get that road built, but it may just start out being 2 lanes from the north to the south. But once that is built, our goal is to, and this Rick will speak on it a little bit, but to transfer the jurisdiction and make that red route, the red line there, the new SR 17. Okay, if we go next slide, please. The ultimate goal is to have it be a parkway style road with 4 lanes, a median, and then the shoulders there, the curb and gutter and a trail. But initially we're going to work with private developer, a couple of them, to get the first 2 lanes built. We're also utilizing the new Utah law for public infrastructure districts, which it doesn't work for every community, but it's certainly working for our community. I think it's a great tool. It was just adopted in the state of Utah in May of last year, May of 2019, which allows the city to create a private district. Well, it says pseudo-private. The good news is they can then issue bonds, but those bonds are not on the books of the city of Tokerville. It doesn't show up on our books at all. It's not an obligation of the city, but rather it's an obligation of that newly created district, and it's paid back over between 30 and 40 years via a special tax that the landowners will pay that move out there. Okay, next slide, please. We are anxious to get this done, and we will find one way or another to get those first 2 lanes built. And then once that's built, we do want to recognize that not only will it preserve our little quiet town, and that's it. What you see is what you get with Tokerville, right? And we don't want to have that overrun by trucks and heavy traffic. And that's why that parkway is so important to us. but it's also going to be a significant regional benefit and always safer. We don't have the sharp curves anymore. It'll be safer for all the travelers, both from the north and many from that south. So at that's all I wanted to mention at this point. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to field those. Otherwise, Rick, I'll turn it over to you to discuss the jurisdictional transfer.
I have a question. I have a comment, Keen. When you said that there's no money, we don't have no money, just remind me of the story that I had kind of personally witnessed 40 years ago when there was a revolution in Iran and we didn't have no communication between those countries. And I was desperate for some kind of money and didn't have enough to use the telephone lines. I sent a telegram to my father, just a one-liner saying, no money, no funny, your son. And within just a short period of time, I received this answer from my sweet dad. He said, very bad, very sad, your dad.
Now, you're not suggesting you're our father figure in Tokerville, are you? Because I don't want that news from you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
I would like to congratulate Tokerville for dealing with this kind of an issue. We have several localities in our state that sat too long and the routes disappeared. And I think you're on the right process of getting it done early, getting it done, and appreciate what you've done.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, they've been working for a long time to get to this point. And they've done a lot of negotiating with the landowners and the citizens. And I've been involved for about 20 years, and I know that with the different mayors. Thank you.
So, Chairman, this is Rick Torgerson. Ivan, if you could pull up those, so what we have done to date with Tokerville Town City is to establish, the developmental standards is what we call it. So I don't know if they're in that piece there, Ivan, down below. So what the developmental standards does is it sets up a standard between Tokerville and UDOT of how this road could be built and should be built if the future would become a state highway. So below Keen's presentation, you'll see a full document that talks about developmental standards that Ivan has. Actually, this is the agreement first. So basically in this agreement, we agree to follow those developmental standards so that the road is built to state standards, such as, curvature, horizontal, vertical alignment, the quality of the products that are being used, the base of the roadways, because we know this, if this gets approved, that it will become a state highway in the future. We want it built to a UDOT standard. So in that agreement, it states that the city will ensure that happens, whether they build the road or developers build the road or whatever, that the standards are there in place, that we are all on the same page of how that would happen. And then it also inside this agreement between UDOT and the city is, how do we maintain those sections and who maintains the sections? How does the right-of-way transactions occur after the two roads are built? Basically what we're saying is once the two connections on the south end and the north end, and we have two lanes going, one lane each direction, that's when the jurisdictional happen would occur if the commission agrees to the resolution today. So this agreement has been executed. It is contingent upon the resolution being presented to you today. So if the resolution is not passed, then this agreement is null and void, but it does set up the standards of how UDOT and the city will interact during the next 7 years. Basically, the resolution and the agreement is valid for 7 years. If that roadway does not get built in the 7-year period, these things are both null and void, and then we'd have to come back to a future commission meeting to actually make a jurisdictional transfer. We modeled these agreements after the Porter Rockwell agreement that Brian Adams in Region 2 did with Bluffdale City, and both our legal folks at the complex and our right-of-way director, Charles Stormont, has reviewed and added great comment to this. So this agreement is signed. And then below this is the actual resolution that'll be presented to the commission. So here's the developmental standards that I talked about. So it talks about, all of the little details in there to make sure that we get a road that is built to state standards. Pavement sections, intersection improvements, all the details there. So then here's the resolution that is in front of you today. And it does talk about the 7-year period and the potential jurisdictional transfer if the connection is made from milepost 1.15 to 5.4. The two lengths are virtually identical when you look at them. So as far as the amount of roadway on the existing SR-17 versus the parkway, they're virtually identical in length and width. The city is providing all of the right-of-way for this project. Back to Commissioner Van Tassel's comment, is they have secured the right-of-way through all the development. It's a very commendable thing that the city has done with the developers, is to establish the right-of-way for this corridor. If the jurisdictional transfer is approved, UDOT will quitclaim deed the right-of-way on the old SR-17 section, and the city will quitclaim deed the right-of-way for the new Tokerville Parkway to UDOT. So we'll make those land transfers at that point. So with that, if you have any additional questions?
Any questions from Rick or King?
Are you ready for a motion, Mr. Chair?
Yes, if there's none, yes, please.
I would like to make a motion that we approve this resolution. Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Resolution. I also just want to commend the city. I loved the comment, what we can do, we have done. And I think that really is very, very important as we look at this future partnership. So I move to approve this resolution.
This is Barlow. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second on this resolution for Tokerville City. If there's no further questions or discussions, I would like to have a vote on this by roll call. Commissioner Barlow?
Aye.
Commissioner Kramer?
Yes, I agree, but let me just say that I think that we're getting ahead of the curve on this. I think it's a wise thing to do, and I support that kind of approach going forward. So I as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Law?
Aye.
Commissioner Evans?
Aye.
Commissioner Van Tassel?
Great job. Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Gottner?
I just want to say that was a really impressive presentation, and I thought it was compelling, and I'm very happy to say aye.
Thank you. So resolution is passed. Congratulations, Rick. Congratulations, King.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have item number 10, informational items. Anything from the commissioners individually, anything you would like to report, anything you want to talk about, any concern that you had about today's meeting or future meetings?
Went well. Let's do it like this every time. Kidding. I like being with everybody, but it's very efficient, I think. So thank you.
I do miss the tour, but I thought it went very, very well.
Well done.
Thank you. Well, if not, then go ahead.
I was just saying, great job. I finally, when I went back through on a different line, I got rid of the feedback. So
good.
That happens.
Well, nice to have you all. Thank you, Commissioner. Next meeting, it will be April 23rd and 24th, and that will be in the UDOT complex. If everything goes right, and prayerfully will, that we can see all of us under one room in one complex, rather than it's scattered all over the nation. Okay, again, I have to ask you for roll call to make sure all the commissioners were there. They did not go to sleep and they did not leave the room. So by roll call, I would like to make sure everybody understands that you participated in the meeting from the beginning to end, and that you will be able to hear and comprehend everything that occurred during this meeting. Roll call. Commissioner Barlow,
I concur.
Commissioner Kramer,
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Law. Commissioner Law, I would like to have your answer that you were there all the time and you heard all the meetings and participated.
I did. I just was still muted. Sorry. I was here the whole time.
Thank you. Commissioner Evans.
Yes, I have been here the whole time and it's been a great meeting. Thank you.
Wonderful. Commissioner Van Tassel.
Yes.
Commissioner Gochner.
Yes, been here. Thank you, Nagi.
Thank you. This concludes our meeting today. Carlos, do you have anything to report? Anything we can hear from the committees that you have? And
No, Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank the commissioners for your flexibility in allowing us to continue with the commission meeting. It was very important that from Governor Herbert that we continue the business of the Department of Transportation. And by you being flexible, you're allowing us to continue. So thank you very much. And if you have if we are in this situation in April, which I'm guessing we're going to be there more so than not, I would be glad for any feedback on how we can improve this meeting for you. So let us know, please. Thank you.
well, I personally extend my love and appreciation to each one of the commissioners, to your families for letting us to share you with us, the UDOT family, all the presenters, Region 4 for local area presentation, all those attended by way of phone, computer, iPads, anything else, and those comments. Thank you and wish you all well. You wish your family well, stay well, and be well. Good luck to everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Well done.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Wish we were in St. George.
You should. It's still partly sunny.
I know. We're staying home, staying safe. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you. God bless.